Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to another chapter in this book of Genesis. What's going on here? I'm showing too much. Well, today I go back to class. It's my first day back in teaching my classes, and we're going to be doing a one brush painting, and it's going to work along the lines of it's going to be a sunflower, all right, for their first picture. But we're going to complete it all off one painting or one paintbrush. Generally, I can use any paintbrush that you want, but the idea is that just sometimes, whenever I paint pictures, these giant pictures, I get 1/2 inch or a 1 inch brush, and I do the entire picture with it, the small stuff and the big stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. So I'm going to take them on a trip like that today. Now, for you guys, we are on chapter 21. Chapter 21 is going to add up to a 3. And so this is, the 3 is a connection, especially in this position and where they're at right now with their children being born and all that. This is a connection. The idea of circumcision shows up again on line 8, or when he's 8 years old, or when at 8 or stuff like that. The idea is 8 is a control number, and if you were to go back and look at another scripture here that adds up to 8, that would be what? Chapter 17 tells you all about the circumcision. It's all about that business. It's when it comes and rears its ugly head in our lives. But anyways, 8 is a control number, and circumcision is that once you cut off the lower and the child is born, everyone's released out of bondage and stuff like that, does freedom come about, and we make a pact. God makes a pact with us, and there's a particular part of sitting around eating. Of course, we've already did a little bit of gorging and stuff like that as these stories have moved on. And but there's this pact that you now you've made a pact with God, but in this situation he's making a pact with the king that he's going to treat him fair and equally, that no matter what happens in the situations, we're even. And that's how I'm going to sum up this next chapter, because even both of the sons, Ishmael, God says he's going to make a nation out of him. Well, he actually he fills the bill of the right hand, or the right side of our, the left side of our mind, which is the carnal mind, and it governs over the skin. And the skin, in this case, the nations fall right underneath this particular part of our story. But you'll see that nation will come out over here. But this is still talking about the mind. He's going to make a mind, and this Ishmael runs around as a it's through the wilderness. He's in the wilderness, so he is part of this this business of being a messenger of the God, because he becomes a great archer. And and so this is a hunter. This is a situation that you want to have going for you, is a brother, your child, being a good archer. And so he gets to stay in this midst, and he gets to hang out with God. So this is a good thing on both sides, because this is showing you that the carnal side of the mind has been raised up, and the division between the right and left sides of the brain is gone. And so this is the union that comes together, and the evenness, that everything now is going to be even, and you're going to deal with me evenly. And this is the idea that that you get paid back for your works, the works that you've done. You're going to be judged by your works, stuff like that. So that's how we get this story going. All right, and then we're going to get into 4. We're going to get in worlds. It's going to be another another movement in this same direction. All right, as far as like tell them what it's like on the outside, but really meaning something on the inside. So let's see what happens. Genesis 21. And again, we're working with the format of the four worlds. All right, the worlds, and this is basically, they're not four worlds. This is your mind as we travel from the west to the east. All right, when we go from a Western way of thinking, which is just our own thinking, to going over to the God's way of thinking. All right, and having His understanding. So, and the Lord visited Sarah and did what He said He was going to do. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time that God said would happen. Remember, this is the only place where the birth comes from, is right in here. It has to be while you're this meditation business, okay? All right, so the next part is over here, 3. And Abraham called the name of his son. His name is Isaac. Isaac, the name Isaac means laughter, okay? And so number 4, we get an Abraham circumcised Isaac being 8 days old. And God had commanded him. So here on 4, in this world, in a spiritual situation, He has circumcised him when he's 8 days old. And we know that the number 8 is a control number, and of course now God's got him. All right. 5. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born. That means he was connected to God. That's what 100 is going to represent. 1. Now, because this is what happens. This is what happens on the birth of this beautiful thing. 6. And Sarah said, God had made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. This is 6, representing the Kundalini and the situation. But now we're getting the name of giving her laugh. This is the name of her baby. All right. So then we get to 7. And she said, who would have said that Abraham, unto Abraham, that Sarah should give him children? And the word suck after that with a question mark. For I born him a son in his old age. And then we get to 8. And the child grew and was weaned. Abraham made a great feast that same day that Isaac was weaned. So weaned is whenever he goes off from milk to go into to regular old food. All right. These stories go by really fast. Starting with 9. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian. She had born unto Abraham, mocking. 10. Wherefore she said to Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son. For the son is not the bondwoman of this bondwoman will not heir my son. Not one way. All right. So even with Isaac. 11. And the thing was grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. All right. This is number 11. 11 always shows up on here. Of course it does. All right. It's our body. It's us. We are this thing that causes this problem. All right. It's just this idea that because of his son, this kind of is weird. All right. I think it should be weird. 12. And God said to Abraham, let not be grievous at the sight because of the lad, because of the bondwoman. In all, it says, in all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So whenever he's ready to do anything, it will be his seed that's called. But it's very interesting that his son, now this first son is also, now number 13. 13 represents a 4. And it says, and also the son of the bondwoman I will make a nation because of thy seed. This is going to be 13. It's here, right? No, 12. 13 is here. 13. And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation. And that means make a person out of it. All right. And it is. It's actually, just the brighter side of things, because everyone's been brought into a brighter side. This is his left mind has been brought into a higher place. All right. So that means his skin too. Where we go next? 14. And Abraham rose up in the morning and took bread, a bottle of water, and gave it to Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. Now, in the wilderness, that's where they are right now. He let her go. This is this place. This is inside of us. This is some kind of, it's the valley. It's the darkness. It's where everybody's at in these stories. This whole spiritual situation is not a fleshy situation. It's a spiritual one. All right. So next thing you know, because the story has changed over to this side, and so he stuck some water and gave her the kid. All right. When the water ran out, she stuffed the kid underneath some shrubs. It's going to be 6. All right. This is that idea of hiding him. All right. And the cries are heard. This is number 13, 14, 15, 16. And she went and sat down over and against him, a good way off, as if it were a bow shot, all right, or a bow shot. For she said, let me not see the death of a child. And she sat over and against him, lifted up her voice, and wept. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called unto Hagar out of the heavens, and said to her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise. Arise. Well, this would be that idea that what would happen is that wherever the body lay, because she didn't want to see her kid die, right? Because that's the whole point of sending them off, is to get rid of him. But anyways, he heard the voice where the kid was. And this is to go with the stories, is where the carcass lie, the eagles will still find them. All right. We've heard this a couple of times about this idea that Abraham swooped off these guys to keep them from getting to the carcass. That was a different part of the story, much earlier in the story. And it says here, and God was with the lad. All right. Oh, and God opened up her eyes. She saw a well of water, and went and filled the bottle with water and gave the lad a drink. Okay, now, listen to this story. This is number 19 in here. God opened her eyes. She found some water in a well, and then she turned around and gave it to the son. That is so perfect. This is like Cinderella. She opens up her door and she goes outside and she pours water for a prince. That's the whole idea. That's what this is about. Okay, so here's another bit of that story coming in. And it says here, and God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. That's 20. All right, that's at the end. Dwelt in the wilderness with God. He was with God and became an archer. That's a good thing. All right, and what else we have? We have 21, 18, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Pan, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. All right, well, This is Egypt, out of the land. This is where we get this first part. And it came to pass that Ablimki and Piso, the chief captain of the host, spake unto Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all that thou doest. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get past these other ones. Abraham took sheep, and Abraham set 7 guys apart from the other. And he said of these, he says, what he's asking for is this Ablimki guy. There's a covenant made between these two guys. And it says, thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. That means while they're in the midst, all right? While they're in this place, then Abimelech rose up, and the chief captain says they returned to the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba and called thereon the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days. But let's get up here real quick. Now, therefore, swear unto me by God that you will not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, that thou shalt do unto me, and to the land there wherein thou hast sojourned. So, and Abraham, and number 24 on this one here, that represents a 6. Abraham said, I swear. And Abraham reproved Ablimki because of the well of water which Ablimki's servants had violently taken away. Ablimki said, I will not have not. See, this is why I don't want to get into all of that. It's just not so it's a little more complicated than this, but what they're really doing in this particular part of the story, they're just trading up. Promise me you're going to deal with me evenly, you know, that we're partners on this from here on out, such and such. So this is the mind being and they use that word, you know, is to be, you know, changed, to be corrected, you know, and that's the whole point of this. This is what makes God really mad, is that nobody goes up to get judged and to be corrected. They don't go in for this. And it's like, that's not so terrible, you guys. If you just went up, you know, we think that something terrible is going to happen, fire and brimstone. That's what they say. But what it is those that actually make it into this place, when they actually, you know, go above these fears, the lower mind, when they go above this, they're rewarded for what's going on. And this is the story here. Part of the story is where, you know, look here, man. Look at all these things, all these wonderful, great things that you have going on for you, you know? And so it becomes you know, an even situation. This is those are people that keep Israel. You know, when you keep Israel, you know, then there's no darkness that ever will come over you. It'll be daylight, day and night. It's just the idea that the light shines with you and on you all the time once you make this connection, because it's forever and ever. I remember just a little bit before, some king tried to take away Sarah, and God intervened. He says, don't do that. You can't do this. You give him back or it'll be death for you. So it was threatened, you know. So anyways, this is what we get when we connect with God, you know. All right. So I'll see you in just a little while, okay?